Static sparks drift in a crimson tone. Low wind pressure shakes the circuit bone. Sin waves ripple in a woven slide, pulling every fragment to the inner tide. Patterns loop tight in a mirrored spin. Hi-hat slice, then where the beats begin. Rises curl slow in a rising flare. Tension drawing closer in the loaded air. Climbing sweep, pulling every second from the circuits deep, 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 deep. Pulse over fire blazing through the night, twisting every shadow into shards of light, running with the charge of a shifting stream, lost within the rhythm. But the pulse still waits in the hidden line, ready for the surge when the beats align.
Currents twist deep in the rising hum. Bass lines rumble like a distant drum. Lead synth spirals in a rapid chain, pulling every thought into its domain. Hi-hats flicker like electric code, patterns shifting in a heavy load. The riser stretches tight like a sealed command. Moments freeze in place as the pulses expand. Vector surge override, breaking the frame, cutting through distortion like a burning flame. Riding on the current of a fierce waveform, lost inside the drive where the circuits form. Kick bursts forward in a molten spark, rhythms ricochet through the glowing dark. Vocal shards echo in a fractured sweep, slicing through the static where the signals lead. Breakdown softens like like a fading glow. Silence curls around as the pattern slow. Then the lift ignites in a sudden blast, pulling every fragment back in a clash. Vector surge override, breaking the frame, cutting through distortion like a burning flame. Riding on the current of a fierce waveform, lost inside the drive where the circuits form. Echoes drift out in dissolving light, falling like embers through the quiet night. But the buried pulse keeps a hidden tone, waiting for the moment to rise alone. Static folds tight in a narrow bend, bass shakes low where the shadows blend. Lead tones spiral in a broken climb, twisting every moment out of time. Hi-hat snap quick like a coated flare, pattern slice clean through the weighted air. Rise up pulling slow in a tense incline, holding every echo on a faulted line. Signal fracture cut in through the frame, splitting all the noise like a wild flame. Riding on the break of a warped domain, lost inside the drift where the waves unchain. Kick drum bursts in a jagged slam, rhythm shatters sharp like a metal can. Vocal shards shimmer in a drifting haze, falling into patterns where the circuits blaze. Breakdown sings slow like a drain machine, silence trembling thin in a ghost-like sheen. Then the burst ignites with a sharp recoil, dragging every signal back from the boil. Signal fracture cutting through the frame, splitting all the noise like a wild flame. Riding on the break of a warped domain, lost inside the drift where the waves unchain. Frequencies fade in a trailing spark, falling like dust through the hollow dark. But the signal hides in a silent seam, waiting for the surge to reawaken. Cling, 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 cling. Oh. Sharp in the rising beat, bass kicks heavy in a looping heat. Lit notes streaking a metallic glide, pulling all the tension to the system side.
Hi-hats scatter like a silver rain, rhythms twist tight in a moving chain. Rhythm breathes slow in a stretched incline, ramping up the pressure in a narrow line.
Voltage stride tearing through the night, flashing every frame in a driven light. Riding on the spark of a coated flight, locked in a softened drift. Silent shift, slow like a fading lift. Then the build strikes hard in a rising blaze, pulling every cycle back into the phase. Voltage stride tearing through the night, flashing every frame in a driven light. Riding on the spark of a coded flight, locked inside the surge where the waves ignite.
Like a thinning veil, yet the charge remains in a dormant glow, waiting for the next strike to overflow.
Voltage hums deep in a midnight glide. Bass crawls heavy from the system side. Lead lines shimmer in a looping twine, pulling all the echoes into one design. Hi-hats flick like an electric rain. Rhythms punch sharp in a coded chain. Rise and shift slow in a rising thread. Tension creeping close as the moment spread.
Night circuit burning through the haze, flaring up the dark in a neon blaze. Riding on the pulse of the shifting maze, lost inside the charge where the waveform plays.
trailing through the void in a slanted shine. But the night still hums in a silent spin, waiting for the current to rise again.
Echoes swarm tight in a mirrored spin, low end pressure dragging from within. Leads carve patterns in a looping glide, pulling all the motion to the deeper side. Hi-hat ticks slide like a splitting chain, rhythms cut sharp through the metal strain. RZA pulls taut in a rising hold, holding every breath in a grip ice cold. Pulse divergence tearing at the core, breaking through the static with a violent roar. Racing on the line where the shadows pour, lost inside the drift, wanting something strike. Drums fold quick in a shifting spike. Vocal grains scatter in a filtered sweep, tracing broken echoes where the signals leap. Breakdown dims, soft like a fading glow. Silence wraps tight as the pattern slow. Then the launch erupts with a sudden blast, dragging every moment back lightning fast. Pulse divergence staring at the core, breaking through the static with a violent roar. Racing on the line where the shadows pour, lost inside the drift, wanting something more. Slow in a thinning stream, drifting like ghosts from a shattered dream. But the pulse remains in a quiet trace, ready to break free in another chase. Flickers deep in a fractured arc, signal split sharp, cutting through the dark. Bass grows heavy in a sinking wave, dragging every thought to the path it paves. Hi-hats crackle like a thermal spark, pattern slice clean through the circuit's bark. Riser coils tight like a spark restraint, tension fills the room where the sound remains. Neon fault line breaking from below, shattering the pulse in a sudden glow. Riding on the clash as the patterns throw, lost inside the quake where the systems flow. Kick rolls pounding in a molten stride, drums collide fast like a crashing tide. Vocal shards drift in a process sweep, ripping through the void where the shadows creep. Down hum soft like a dying beam. Silence folds thin like an empty dream. Then the burst hits hard with a laser strike, dragging all the chaos back into the spike. Neon fall line breaking from below, shattering the pulse in a sudden glow. Riding on the clash as the patterns throw, lost inside the quake where the systems flow. Neon fall line breaking from below, shattering the pulse in a sudden glow. Riding on the clash as the patterns throw, lost inside the quake where the systems flow. Fragments fade slow in a dwindling spark, trailing thin lines through the hollow dark. But the neon waits in a buried seam, ready to fracture through the next regime. Oh, signal back into the ride. Voltage recoil, tearing through the zone, ripping through the dark like a force cyclone. Riding on the shock where the sparks are thrown, lost inside the surge where the charge has grown. Echoes fall thin in a glowing trace, drifting through the static of an empty space. But the current waits in a hidden core, ready to ignite and rise once more.